And still more examples of sketching trig functions. Once again, we're going to collect all this information and the question will be given in this format. So we have y equals minus 3 cosine, open bracket, for x minus 180 degrees, close bracket, plus 5. Now, yes, we can probably identify first what the base function is going to be, which will be, let me do it here, y equals negative cosine x, and you do a rough sketch for that. Positive 1, negative 1, and it's negative cosine x, so we start at the bottom, we go all the way at the top, and then we end up over here, and that will be 360 degrees. I don't know why I started labeling there. And this would be 180 halfway. Okay, anyways, have that as a reference. But here's the key thing. We know that the amplitude will be 3. We know that the equation of axes will be 5. We know that the value of k will be 4. And the period will be 360 divided by 4. What about d? The phase shift. It's moving to the right, okay? Is it moving 180 degrees? No, it's not moving 180 degrees. What you have to do is you have to factor out the k from these two values. So watch out for these types of questions. You may see it on in your textbooks. So let's do that first, and let's then continue on collecting the rest of our data. So open bracket 4, open bracket, x minus, now what's 180 divided by 4 is 45 degrees. I should have known that. Okay, plus 5. Okay, so now we know. Now we know that it has shifted 45 degrees to the right. And now we can proceed on collecting all the other information. So A amplitude is equal to 3. The equation of axes is y equals 5. We know that the value of d is 45 degrees, shifting 45 degrees to the right. We know that the maximum value will be c plus a, plus absolute value of a, which is 8. And the minimum value will be c minus a, which will be 2. And the last thing we need to do is collect the period. So what's the period? Period is going to be equal to 360 degrees divided by 4. So what's 360 degrees divided by 4? Well, it's 90 degrees. So that's our period. Okay, so now we've got everything that we need to in order to sketch this. So let's begin by drawing our x value of where the equation is going to start. So that starts at 45. So I'm going to put it here. And that's 45 degrees. And halfway, we're going to draw, this is going to be our equation of axes, which is y equals 5. The maximum value is 8. The minimum value is, actually, let me see. The minimum value is 2. All right. And the period is 90 degrees. And we're going to start at the bottom because it's a negative cosine. That's the base function. So we start at the bottom, we go at the top, and then we end up at the bottom again. So roughly speaking, there, that's 90 degrees. Okay, so we divide this in 4. Okay, so now we're going to get some decimal points there. I think it's going to be there roughly and there roughly. So 45 to, no, sorry, I did this wrong. It's not supposed to be 90. 45, if you start here, plus 90, you end up at 135. You end up at 135. 135 degrees. Okay, now of course if this is 90, yeah, that's the period. So if this is 90, from here to here is 90, from there to there is 90, then halfway would be, well, halfway of 90 is 45 degrees, so 45 plus 45, that gives us actually 90 here. And then from between these two is 45. What's half of 45 is 22.5. So I add 22.5 to this. That gives us 67.5 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and then another 22.5 here, which will give us 112.5 if I'm not mistaken. Right? 22, 110, 112, yeah, 112.5. So that's it. We've got all our data. So now you start plotting it. You start at the bottom. It's going to hit that point. It's going to get to the top, back to the equation of axes, and then end over here as well. And that's what we need to do. So then you can just sketch it, and you start from here. Okay, you guys can improve this. It's terrible. It's terrible, but let's see if we can fix it. It goes like that. Okay, and that's it. That's not too bad. I won't even dare drawing the x-axis or the y-axis, since it's all the way over there. So that's it. If you show me this, you get full marks.